Sometimes you are the only girl in a group, and it can be hard to speak up and feel confident. There's a struggle of feeling like an imposter.
I feel like I would be probably in a different place right now if I had listened to even my own internal naysaying about what path I was choosing. Looking around a room and not seeing very many people who look like you can be really a hard position to be put in.
I don't know anybody my age that has learned the things that I've learned and experienced the things that I've experienced. And not everybody knows that this is an option. I want people to know that this is an opportunity that you could take advantage of.
You really do need to be able to see yourself in a field, be it construction, be it science, be it technology. We make up 51% of the population. It's important that we encourage young women to work in the STEM field, because otherwise we're losing out on all that possibility of potential in those young women who could be out changing the world, but they aren't even thinking about themselves in these career fields.
There's something always cool about making something by yourself, like that you made. Even if you got help from a PDF, it's still really cool knowing that you built that by yourself. I like doing the building parts, but programming's fun too. I'm trying to see what works and what doesn't. I hope maybe my coding skills would hopefully carry on maybe into a future job.
Currently in the United States, only 18% of computer science degrees are earned by women. So that needs to change. We need young women in STEM fields because their ideas can change the world. And if we're going to provide great new solutions or solve the problems of today and tomorrow, we need every idea possible.
I want to go into the medical field, and I either want to be a dentist or a dermatologist. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm excited about finding something that I really like. I don't really want to have to change my career halfway through my life. I want to find something I enjoy and I want to go to every day, even if it's really hard or a lot of work. I still want to love it a lot. There's definitely been people in my life where I watch them and I wish I could help more, but I just don't know how yet, but I think I could someday.
Growing up, I've always had a love for animals. There were always animals somewhere that I would go and hang out with and just get to know. The STEM field that I am hoping to go into is veterinary medicine. I'm hoping to own my own practice at some point in the future.
There are so many exciting, high-demand, entry-level jobs in Washington State. These positions are not only in places like Seattle, they are in every corner of our state, from urban to rural settings. This gives you the flexibility to travel and explore, or to stay close to home and contribute to your local community. These are good-paying jobs that will allow you to live a comfortable lifestyle and support a family if you want one. 70% of these jobs require a post-secondary education, a certificate, a 2-year degree, an apprenticeship, or a 4-year college degree. In this documentary, we will highlight some of the highest demand jobs across the state and right here in Northwest Washington, in construction, information technology, healthcare, and advanced manufacturing. You will hear from professionals and students alike who are pursuing their careers in these industries. We hope their stories will inspire you to dream big. I encourage you to explore a wide variety of career options and find your own path. Discover what inspires you, what drives you, and then follow it, because you can absolutely have the career of your dreams.
My name is Kathy Corian, and I am a nurse faculty here at Skagit Valley College. I'm working in this industry in healthcare because I absolutely love it. It's been a dream of mine since I was 5 years old. When I got one of those little kits that has a little stethoscope and a syringe and a blood pressure cuff, and as I went through school, into middle school, high school, I focused all my courses to sciences, maths, anything that was directed towards healthcare, and graduated and went right into a 4-year degree at Loma Linda University. At first, I thought I wanted to be a pediatric nurse practitioner. I thought. But then I actually got into nursing school and did my rotation through pediatrics, and I knew it wasn't for me. With nursing programs, that's what it's about. You discover all these different areas. You see med-surg, you see critical care, you work with geriatric patients. I was able to really explore, just like I would have done if I were in high school trying to figure out. So even after you get your degree, you still explore and you can always go in different directions. I always feel that in your career, you should love what you do, because then you're really not working. And so that's really how I feel about being a nurse, is if you love what you do, it's really not work. And it's not about the money, it's about being able to give back to our communities.
I'm Olivia Isaacson, my pronouns are she, her, and I go to Cedar Woolley High School. I just think like the human body is super interesting in general, but also there's like the big thing of helping other people, which I feel like I like to do that on a normal basis, and it would be nice to do that in a big way. I always have been like interested in the medical field. I took human biology and we were learning all these different parts of the body and how they worked and all worked together. It was just crazy to see how it all went together, and it made me like more interested in it. I definitely think that would feel really good to be able to save someone and help their life become better. I think I'll do biology for my first 4 years of college and then hopefully transfer to some sort of medical school. I think it's important to stay focused. There's a lot of distractions these days, and you just gotta remind yourself that there are bigger things than what's going on right now. Like, you should think about your future even when you're younger. Like, you can't just like start scrambling sophomore year. You need to like get it together earlier so that you can go where you want to go to school or do what you want to do in life.
My name is Charity Jordan. I am a student at LaConner High School. I'm a junior this year. I've always wanted to be in a job where I know that I'm making a difference every day. Veterinary medicine is where I want to be. One of the earliest stories I recall is my dad and I, we'd drive by this dairy and we'd look out the window and we'd always slow down to 5-10 miles an hour. Then he'd roll down the windows and we would moo at the cows. And sometimes they'd moo back. And that was the highlight of my day. From there, my dad has just really worked on getting me involved with animals. My dad got a herd of goats, and I would go over and hang out with them, and I fell in love with these goats. My sophomore year, we were talking about career paths a lot. I was looking at nursing and I was like, wow, I mean, this could really be for me. And I was really set on this for most of my sophomore year. And then I started going over to my dad's a lot more than normal, and that was kind of my turning point for me. I was like, this is where I want to be, because the animals have so much love to give back to me. I need to be here in this environment for the rest of my life.
I was able to do some travel nursing. I worked in med-surg, I worked at the local hospital here. Just did a variety of different things, and I'm still not done growing. I have yet something ahead of me, but for now, this is where I'm supposed to be. A woman that wants to go into healthcare, I would just say follow your dreams, never give up, because you have a wide variety of career paths that you can take. I believe that when you put your dream in front of you and you follow it, you can achieve it.
What's been rewarding for me to see is that when girls learn about STEM careers, they're inspired to take our high school STEM courses. They sign on for our STEM clubs, and I've seen them participate in internships. We need all hands on deck. You can do it, and you can make a difference.
You know, when I was in college, I had the chance to work in a lab at the College of Veterinary Medicine at Washington State University. During my time in the lab, I gained some knowledge of DNA analysis, learned to use various tools in the lab, and, gained some valuable problem-solving skills and resilience. More importantly, I wasn't afraid to try and to fail. We went back into the lab every day and tried again, and I still learned so many things along the way that helped me and helped the animals that we were trying to serve. Washington State is home to world-changing companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Kaiser Permanente. And KP is leading the global vaccination efforts to fight against COVID-19. Their Washington State operations are led by a female, and the global vaccination efforts are also led by a female. I'd say that's some major girl power there.
My name is Gracie Ermy, and I am a research software engineer. The computer science and the technology that I build is related to wildlife conservation. For instance, right now we have a project going on with researchers who are studying killer whales, and killer whales have been one of my favorite animals for forever. So getting to work with them and see this project through has been really exciting. As I went into high school, I started getting interested in math and physics, and so started thinking more about doing something in the STEM world. My high school physics teacher, Mr. Ingman, was also a very big influence on me. He was combining what I liked about math with real-world problems. You know, we were building like model bridges and dropping eggs off of the roof. Mr. Ingman taught me it's okay to have things fail. Like, I remember very clearly my egg drop project. I had worked hard on like building this contraption that when we dropped it off the roof, the egg was supposed to survive, and it did not survive. That's been really important in my career, is to remember that perseverance part of science. And if something doesn't work, that's almost more useful than if it worked the first time. You wouldn't really learn very much from that.
My name is Abigail Peterson. I'm a first-year student at Western Washington University, majoring in computer science and minoring in entrepreneurship and innovation. I am also the founder and CEO of Magnify Wellness, which is a tech nonprofit whose mission is to ensure that everyone gains equal access to mental health support. We've impacted over 54,000 people through the iOS app that I programmed and published. I am very passionate about computer science, educational equity, getting underrepresented groups in STEM, and mental health innovation. Growing up, I really struggled with anxiety, and I was actually homeschooled my entire life up until high school. And freshman year of high school, I experienced a lot of bullying, a lot of harassment from my peers just because of the way that I grew up in a different world. And so I really struggled a lot with finding my place, finding friends. It left me feeling powerless, very insecure, and made me feel that, you know, maybe coding really isn't for me. I learned of this really cool entrepreneurial boot camp called Nalakai Startup Academy, which would select Hawaii high school students to learn how to change the world with technology. And so I applied, and I was the one of 20 high school students selected. I learned that I actually wasn't the only one struggling with bullying and feeling alone. My 3 other teammates also were going through similar things. And so we decided to create some sort of startup that revolved around giving people access to mental health support. And that's really where my passion for entrepreneurship, mental health, and coding really skyrocketed.
My name is Ashlyn. I am a 7th grader at Concrete Middle School, and I'm doing our school's robotics class. We're mostly doing stuff with Lego robotics, and right now we're doing stuff with drones. Honestly, when we were doing electives, I was like, robotics sounds cool. And then when I went there, it was like, I really did not regret choosing that. Robotics is in the morning before any of our Zoom classes. So we get there and our teacher, Mr. Wine, will tell us what we're doing for the day. He's probably one of my favorite teachers that I've had so far. He usually does a really good job at explaining stuff too. Lately, we've been doing stuff with drones, and there's a simulator that you can get to try stuff out on before you do it in the classroom. That way you can, trial and error on a computer instead of in the classroom, which can usually result in the drone crashing into something. Coding is honestly probably my favorite part. Just even if it is really hard and tricky sometimes, it is really satisfying when your code works for the first time, seeing it all come together. I think I also like the building and the working together. I just think robotics is really fun all around.
So I started coding when I was 18, and I had a lot of thoughts that compared to my classmates, I was starting too late, or they would be way ahead of me and I would never be able to catch up. But I learned that it's really never too late to start learning to code, and just because someone has been coding for longer than you doesn't mean that they necessarily know more than you or are better suited for a job than you are. And I would just say to keep following your interests and keep an open mind about what skills are out there that you can always continue to pick up along the way, including coding.
What I love about computer science and the technology field in general is its capacity to help all different types of fields. Technology is so interdisciplinary. It allows you to help doctors, help stop climate change. It helps you to just empower tons of other fields.
Like if I decided tomorrow that I wanted to, instead of working in the conservation world, I wanted to work in the healthcare world, for instance, I could take the skills that I have in technology and transfer them to the healthcare world, or really any other field that I can imagine. So it's a pretty amazing sort of superpower.
Seeing the impact that technology has in all of these fields and every aspect of our life has given me inspiration to keep propelling the field and disrupting the narrative that technology is like this scary field that no one can get into. I want to disrupt that narrative and ensure that everyone has access to learning about computer science and realizing that their potential really matters in that world.
It's very important that the American education system provides students with opportunities that launch them into STEM fields. There will be roughly 10 million STEM jobs by 2022, half of which will be in computer technology. But if we don't step up our game, we won't have enough graduates to fill those positions at a time when our country and our world face daunting challenges, things like COVID-19 and the threat of climate change. So your mind and your talent is greatly appreciated and greatly needed.
I think for young people, you have watched the incredible verve and vigor of Greta Thunberg going around the world and talking about the importance of taking climate action very immediately. And I think what's important about women being represented is we provide a different voice. We provide a different direction. We provide a different wealth of experiences to add to the conversation. And we need women in STEM right now. Women really have an intrinsic role to play, making sure that as we get through this next, let's say 50 years of figuring out how to deal with climate change, that we are there making sure that the next generation and the next generation is taken care of, both in terms of our communities and in terms of our ecosystems.
My name is Olivia Rogers, and I'm a project engineer here at Janicki. I work on everything from management to design work to manufacturing support. The fun part is I get to start a project and then I get to help make that product and then deliver it to a customer and see it help build airplanes or rockets or really cool, technically advanced projects. When I was young, I was always really interested in STEM. We had Connects and Legos, and doing activities like that really sparked my interest in understanding how things go together and making something and starting with an idea. But honestly, engineering wasn't in the forefront of my brain for a long time. And then once I got to college and really took some introductory courses, I realized that this was the path for me. I wish I had the confidence that I do now when I was in high school. I doubted myself a lot when I maybe didn't get perfect grades in my math class or my physics class and really doubted my skills that I could take those into a career. There's always things to learn, there's always places to grow. And so I find that very often here at Janicki that I really can rely on team members to help to lift each other up and help educate each other or provide some advice to each other, help each other out, whatever it may be. And so I think I got through that point because of the support that I had and taking that ownership and responsibility that was given to me and having fun with it too.
My name is Anna Novak. I am a plastics and composites engineering student at Western Washington University. I'm super passionate about leadership and inspiring others. I love plastic sustainability, injection molding, extrusion, you name it. I love manufacturing materials. This sounds cheesy, but I really liked the cosmos when I was young. I would go camping and just look up at the stars and think about science and think about how much we've achieved, and that really inspired me. I grew up with really bad ADHD, and I never really considered an engineering degree because you're on computers for so long. But then I found this program at Western, and I was just like, I'm just gonna go to the Engineering 104 introduction class and see if I like it. And then somebody came in and was just like, here's a super hands-on program. It's super fun, and I was like, I'm in. That's all I need to hear is hands-on, and I'm down. I was really struggling at first because I failed most of my math classes in high school. Then I took this material science class and it was super hard and the teacher was super harsh. She was super nice, but she expected so much of you. And one day in her office hours, she told me, "You're gonna be an amazing engineer." And I was like, oh, nobody's ever told me that in my whole entire life. It felt like somebody opening a door to a world which is, primarily male dominated. Even though I define my own path as I'm going through engineering, I feel like somebody has to open that door. So I think that's kind of when I realized that I can do anything I want. There is those defining moments where somebody says one thing and it changes your whole path. And it can just be one thing, I believe in you.
My name is Gina Kim, and I study manufacturing engineering at Western Washington University. I really love what I do. Engineering is just a cool mix of applying math and science. It's also a cool major because you get to work with other people all the time and really cool technology. When I was little, I really liked to make things. I liked to play with Play-Doh a lot and build houses. I actually didn't really know what engineering was at first, but I just took an intro class, and I remember one of the first things you learn when you go to engineering class is just how to be creative. You get to use really cool computer programs and build fun things. You get to play with robots, and it's just a really cool way to blend creativity with math and science. When I first got in engineering, I did notice that I was one of a few girls in the major, and I kind of felt like, well, I'm the only girl here. Am I supposed to be here? You kind of seek out the other girls and form a bond, and you also realize that just because you're a girl in a male-dominated field doesn't mean you don't have the abilities to succeed. You're actually really brave for going and trying something new that not a lot of other people are doing. It gives you strength to just speak up and kind of stick out in a crowd. The more you learn in school, the more you learn about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, and it helps you figure out what you want to do in the future. It's okay to not know what you want to do, but just trying things out and being okay with failing sometimes and trying something new, I think that is just super empowering. And if this ever comes a point where you realize something's not for you, my biggest advice is never stay in something because you invested a certain amount of time in it. I think that you should always follow what you want to do, and I think that furthering your education will only help you decide what you want to do in the future and learn about yourself.
Join other clubs and try things out and see what you like, and don't be afraid to be the only girl in the room. I think it's so important to follow your passion no matter the people around you.
Honestly, just give it a shot. You miss every shot you don't take. If you have a small inkling of passion towards something, why not try it out? Because you might look back in your life in 20 years and be like, I had a passion in high school for it and I never did it. Of course, it's never too late to feel your passions and feel your dreams, but I think it's great to start young.
One of the things I've been frustrated by is that I'm often the only woman in the room. That's bad for these fields because we're missing out on the experiences, the talents, the inside of half of our population. But it's also bad for women because these are good, interesting jobs where you get to feel like you're really making a difference while having a stable salary. It's really important that we have a wider variety of views and experiences when we do this work. Otherwise, we're going to be hampered. We're going to miss out on important innovations.
We've seen women rise up as scientists, rise up as mathematicians, rise up to be the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, rise up to be the Department of Energy, a young Native American woman rising up to be your state legislator. You know, the STEM program is so important to all of us. Reaching out to young women across this great state and saying, you got this, you can do it, you matter.
My name is Shay Holler. I am a full-time second-year student at BTC for the welding program. What I love most about the program, I would have to say, is all the tools that I get to use. That sounds pretty vague, but anytime I get to use a new tool, it's very exciting to me. The machineries, the torches, there's something to be said about using all of that equipment. It's very empowering. I can tell you I was terrified when I started. I knew nothing about welding. It took me a long time to not jump in the shop, but I work really well hands-on, And so being able to learn how to make things or repair things, welding I feel like is an endless career of opportunities. And so the fact that I can just be more hands-on, I love that.
My name is Sarah Patterson, and I'm the Director of Workforce Development for the AGC Education Foundation. Long story short, we want construction to be a first choice career, and we want to educate more folks on why it is and what a great pathway can offer them. I myself started as a structural welder and was able to progress through the industry. I mean, construction literally helped me change my entire life trajectory. I was not a good student. I was disruptive, mouthy. I realized once I got into high school and was able to take a number of shop classes, I bloomed in that space. Those teachers meant a lot to me. They were incredibly encouraging. There was never a, your girl can't do this. They were all about get in there and do it. When I would go sit in my sit-down classes, I felt dumb and out of place. But the minute I got back in my shop class, I was in my element and felt good, confident, strong. So it really helped kind of carry that forward. It takes a lot of skill, ability, and knowledge to work in the construction industry. It's not just a bunch of sweaty dudes with jackhammers. There is a lot of really challenging, unique aspects of working as a team and building these big, lasting monuments.
My name is Alyssa Willis. I am a process operator at the Shell Puget Sound Refinery. My favorite part of my job is by far just the sheer amount of stuff that you can be trained to do inside the refinery. In the short 3.5 years that I've been working at the refinery, I have learned how to be an operator, how to be a console operator. I am actually a trained firefighter and an emergency medical responder. There's just so much stuff that you can learn about, so much stuff that you can get involved with, things that you would never be able to do in any other job. I love being an active learner. I like being a lifelong learner. And the refinery really gives you the opportunity to be a lifelong learner. I was a Running Start student, so I started actually my sophomore year of high school. I started college. I took my first college class right at the end of my sophomore year to prepare me to go into the process technology program at Bellingham Technical College. That is absolutely not the norm, and it was really difficult in order to plan it that way, but I was able to figure out my classes, talk to my college counselors, talk to my high school counselors, and figure out how am I going to do this in this time frame that I want to do it in. That was a huge blessing, and I'm super thankful that it happened that way because this job has changed my life. It's amazing. Your standard 4-year degree, it is very expensive and it's really not for everybody. I am super ahead because of the way that I approached my career and how I got into the refinery when I did. So just because you can do a 4-year degree, just because people in your life are pushing you to do a 4-year degree because they're saying that you'll waste your potential if you don't, you're not. You can do STEM, you can do 2-year, you can do 4-year, but whatever you do, use your mind and keep learning.
4-year universities don't always have to be the route. Trade schools are amazing. Working with your hands, people learn so differently, and you don't always have to go right after high school. That's okay. I went to college when I was 31, and it's just never too late to learn anything. You know, just follow your path, and I think you'll figure it out, and you'll be way more successful when you know when the right time is to go. Whatever trade you may endeavor on, it's okay to be scared. You're gonna be scared regardless. Those are all natural and really good feelings. The scared turns into empowerment and endless goals.
I mean, I've worked all over the world. I've worked in Antarctica, I've worked in South America, I've worked in Europe, and that's as a welder. This is a welder and a welding inspector. So I've traveled the world and somebody else has paid for it. So it's not only given me economic freedom, it's allowed me to recreate myself and continue to change and grow and explore new avenues, but also how many people go to Antarctica, you know, and someone paid for me to go there, paid for me to work the whole time. I mean, it's never ending, the amount of opportunity that's available. So long as you're willing to work hard and push yourself and be creative. Look at what else is out there and what else could I do and how do I get there. Construction is not typically talked about as, you know, the right career path for a young woman. But all career paths are right for young women. It's just a matter of what do you want to do, what are you good at, and what makes you feel good at the end of the day.
You know, there may only be one other young lady in that group or that trade with you. Especially for young women, the advice that I would give them would be, don't be afraid to ask questions. And more than not, I feel like with society, we tend to compete against women against ourselves, and she may be feeling the exact same way. So I just encourage you to compete with her and not against her, and compete with yourself, you know, hold yourself accountable and always try. You're not a failure as long as you keep trying. You're a failure once you stop trying.
As a woman of color who has a master's degree in chemistry, I really believe that women who are represented in the STEM fields are our role models and our mentors of today. They're our influencers, and you all need to see women in those fields so that you know that your dreams can be achieved, that those biology classes and calculus classes and physics classes are not for nothing, and that they will really lead you somewhere one day. I want you to take risks, and I want you to be bold. And the most important thing I want you all to remember is that don't allow fear or self-doubt to stop you from aspiring and pursuing a career in STEM and STEM activities.
You're a lot more capable than you think you are. You could do literally anything you wanted, and you shouldn't limit yourself because you don't see other people that look like you in the path that you want to go on. The skills that you enjoy and are really good at, I think you should just always put those things first.
Stay true to yourself as much as you can, because the unique things about you mean that your voice is even more important in that room, and your perspective is unique, and they need to hear what you have to say.
Women everywhere, they're put down, they're told you're not as good as men, you can't do what men do. We know collectively that we can do it. Don't listen to anyone who might influence you, because in the end, you're not doing this for them, you're doing this for you.
If you have that little butterfly in your stomach that kind of nudges you, if you feel that little nudge, take that nudge and go. Don't allow fear to stop what your dreams are. Being a woman for me doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do. I just do it.
To all the doubters, doubters, to those who don't believe, this is the hour, hour. You'll see that we'll make ladders out of obstacles and stepping stones from roadblocks. Leap over the lines to say we won't cross, but you can't take the nothing. They won't see us coming. Scale all of the walls they built to hold us. We may be invisible, but we'll be unmistakable. We may be invisible. They may be blind to me, just wait and see. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. To all the haters, haters, those filled with jealousy, the naysayers, payers for defeat. But we'll make ladders out of obstacles and stepping stones from roadblocks. Leap over the lines to say we won't cross, but you can't take the nothing. They won't see us coming. Scale all of the walls they built to hold us. We may be invisible, but we'll be unmistakable. We may be invisible. They may be blind to me, just wait and see.